And this clavicle has two sides to it. There's one side of the clavicle which will articulate with the sternum, which is right here in the front. So if you look at the clavicle right here, the clavicle articulates with the manubrium of the sternum. So on one side of the clavicle is the sternal end, which will articulate with the sternum. On the other side, it will articulate with the scapula, which is your shoulder blade. So these are the two sides of the clavicle that we have to know. So this flat side, this is the sternal end. This will articulate with the sternum. On the other side, this kind of protruding portion, this kind of flattened out, this is your acromial. Acromial will articulate with the scapula. So always remember, the flattened end is the sternal, this will articulate with the sternum, this kind of flattened out portion is the acromial, and this will articulate with your acromion of your scapula. So this is going to articulate with the scapula. Now if you look towards very close to the acromion, you can see a pointed tubercle-like structure right here. This is called the conoid tubercle. So conoid tubercle is present on the posterior surface of the clavicle, and it is present on the side of the acromial end of the clavicle. So what have we said? We have said that this is the sternal end. So should this be medial to the body or lateral to the body?
Medial.
Medial to the body. And I've said that the conoid tubercle should be posterior. Okay? So now I'm just holding this up, and so this is the sternal end, this is the acromial end, the conoid tubercle is behind, so it's facing me right now. So is this going to be the right clavicle or the left clavicle?
Right clavicle.
Right clavicle. Any questions, any doubts about that?
Nope.
So sternal facing towards the inside of your body, medial, conoid is posterior, so this becomes your right clavicle. In the exam, you will not be able to pick it up and hold it against your body, but if you remember the points, you'll be allowed to touch it. So if you remember these points, you can touch it, feel it, and identify, and then write down whether it's right or left. Okay, so please remember these points as we talk about that. So that's your clavicle. Now let's look at the next bone, which is the scapula. So this scapula is going to be the second part of your pectoral girdle. So we have looked at the clavicle, now we are looking at the scapula. The scapula is this triangular shaped bone. Again, based on shape of bone, what would you consider this to be? This is a flat bone. Yes. So this is a flat bone. This has, structures that are very similar to what we said as in a sandwich bone, where you have compact layers on the two sides, and then you have spongy bone right in the center. So when you look at this scapula, you'll see that it has a flat surface on the front, and then this surface right here, it has this protrusion, which is called as the spine. Okay, so this is the flat surface, this is the spine. So now let's look at the different sides. So there are three different sides, which we call as the borders. This is the superior border. This, which faces towards the inside of your body, so that's the medial border. This that faces the outside of your body, that is your lateral border. Now how do I know this is medial and that is lateral? So let me just turn it around and look at this space right here. This is called the glenoid cavity. So glenoid cavity is the cavity where the head of your humerus or your arm bone will fit into. So this will form the ball and socket joint. Okay? So if this glenoid cavity fits into the humerus, is this going to be medial or lateral? Clear to everybody? This is going to be lateral. Okay? So the glenoid cavity is lateral. This border becomes my lateral border of the scapula. On the other side, this is the medial border of the scapula. This is the top of the scapula, so superior border of the scapula. Angles. This border, this angle right here, this is the superior angle. This is the inferior angle. And this right here is the lateral angle where the glenoid cavity is present. So again, if I use my needle, this is the lateral angle. This is the inferior angle. And this right here is the superior angle. Superior border, lateral border, on this side medial border. Now, if I turn it around, I said that this protruded portion, this is called the spine. Now, for us to know whether the spine is in the front, so is it on the anterior surface or in the posterior surface? So that's important. So now let's look back at the skeleton. If you have the spine in the front, so if the spine faced anteriorly, then it would directly kind of abrade or basically rub against your ribs, right? So it would constantly be rubbing against your ribs. It would harm all your delicate organs that are placed right here on the inside of your rib cage. Thus the spine has to face towards the outside. It has to face posteriorly, dorsally. It cannot be facing inside towards the rib cage. So always remember the spine is posterior. Okay, so now since you know which is anterior, which is posterior, which is medial, which is lateral, let's try and see if you can identify this is right or left scapula. So this glenoid cavity being on the outside of the body, so that's lateral. The spine that is facing towards me, that's posterior. So will this be the right scapula or the left scapula? Clear? Everybody? Everybody saying right? So again, holding it against my body, the spine is posterior and the glenoid cavity is on the outside, so that's lateral. So that makes it my left scapula. Again, in the exam, you'll be asked for specific bone markings of the scapula, and usually the follow-up question is this a right or left bone? So you have to be able to identify these marks. So what else do we need to know on the scapula? So this is the spine. The spine ends in this hook-like structure. This hook-like structure, which is called the acromion. So if you look right here, remember this was the acromial end of the clavicle. The acromial end of the clavicle fits against the acromion of the spine, which belongs to the scapula. So this part of the scapula which ends from the spine, so this end of the spine, this is known as the acromion. This hook-like structure on the opposite side, this hook-like structure is called the coracoid process. So coracoid process right here in the front, the spine, and then the spine ending in the acromion. This is the glenoid cavity. Right here in the front, this fossa, this is the subscapular fossa. So this fossa, which is a depression, subscapular fossa, is very important because when we talk about muscles, we talk about muscles which will come and attach right here. If you look at the spine right here, the portion above the spine, this is the supraspinous fossa. This is the infraspinous fossa. So supraspinous fossa, infraspinous fossa. On this side, the subscapular fossa. Supraspinous above the spine, infraspinous beneath the spine, and both of these regions will be used for attachment of muscles. Okay, so one more time. Superior border, this on this side, which is facing the inside medial border, lateral border, superior angle right here on the top, so you can see this angle, superior angle, inferior angle, lateral angle. This is the glenoid cavity. If you turn to the back, you can see the spine ending in the acromion, this hook-like process in the front known as the coracoid process, this fossa, subscapular fossa, at the back above the spine is the supraspinous fossa, underneath the spine is infraspinous fossa. Okay, so now let's spend some time. You can look at all the bones